The provocation. The observation deck of Helios Prime's Central Administrative Tower offered the most magnificent view in the entire colony. Governor Eliza Matsuo often came here during the twin sunrise, when both stars cast their golden light across the vast agricultural fields and urban centers that housed nearly 2 million human settlers. Today marked 15 years since humanity had established this thriving outpost on the edge of the Orion Spur, transforming a barren world into a home. Beautiful morning, isn't it? Dr. Kevin Nasrin joined her at the panoramic window, offering a steaming cup of coffee grown in the colony's southern highlands. The best kind, Eliza agreed, accepting the drink. The agricultural report came in. We're producing surplus again this year, enough to begin exporting to the inner colonies. Cave smiled. Who would have thought this dust ball would become the breadbasket of the sector? Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime from Eliza's wrist terminal. She frowned at the unusual alert code. Deep space sensors are picking up something, she said, accessing the colony's defense network. Multiple objects decelerating from FTL at the system's edge. Cave's expression shifted to concern. We're not expecting any supply ships for another month. No, we're not. Eliza's fingers danced across the holographic display. And there are too many for a standard merchant convoy. The objects resolved into clear silhouettes on her display, hundreds of them, arranged in precise formation. Ships of unknown configuration, moving with military precision. Alert all sectors, Eliza ordered, her voice suddenly firm. Implement Protocol 7. Protocol 7. First contact scenario. In the 15 years since humans had ventured beyond their solar system, they had encountered only ruins and remnants of long-dead civilizations. The possibility of meeting another spacefaring species had remained theoretical, until now. Governor, the colony's defense coordinator called over the comm. Those vessels aren't responding to standard greeting protocols. Keep trying all frequencies and... The first impact cut her off, a blinding flash of light from the agricultural district. The observation deck shuddered, and Eliza gripped the railing as the building swayed. What the hell was that? Keva shouted over the sudden blare of emergency sirens. We're under attack, Eliza whispered, watching as more energy beams lanced down from orbit, cutting through residential towers and infrastructure nodes with surgical precision. The colony's modest defense system, designed primarily to handle meteorite threats, activated automatically. A few interceptor drones launched from underground silos, but they were swatted from the sky before they could reach orbit. This is Governor Eliza Matsuo of Helios Prime Colony. She broadcast on all frequencies, following first contact protocols even now. We are a peaceful settlement. Please cease fire and state your intentions. No response came except for intensified bombardment. The central spire shook again, more violently this time. Governor, we need to evacuate you to the bunker, her security chief insisted, appearing at her side. Not yet, Eliza said, accessing the colony's quantum entanglement communicator, their direct line to Earth, reserved for emergencies. I need to send a message first. As the attack intensified outside, Eliza recorded humanity's first and perhaps final report on this unknown hostile species. The information flowed through the QEC, instantaneously reaching Earth despite the 20 light-year distance. This is Governor Matsuo of Helios Prime. We are under attack by unknown alien forces, multiple vessels, highly advanced weapons. No response to communication attempts. Colony defenses insufficient. Civilian casualties significant. She paused, watching another residential tower collapse. Sending all sensor data. We require immediate. The transmission cut off as a direct hit struck the administrative tower. The observation deck exploded inward, and Eliza's world went dark. In the depths of Earth's Cheyenne Mountain complex, General Maya Okafor stared at the holographic display, her face illuminated by the glow of incoming data. Behind her, the Joint Chiefs and the Secretary of Defense watched in stunned silence. 2 million civilians, the Secretary whispered. Gone. Just like that. Not just gone, Maya corrected, her voice tight with controlled fury. Exterminated. Deliberately. The attack on Helios Prime had lasted mere hours. The quantum entanglement link had transmitted real-time data until it went offline, giving Earth's military command a front-row seat to humanity's first colonial genocide. "What do we know about these aggressors?" asked Admiral Takahashi. "The sensor data identifies them as the Vordax Imperium," Maya replied, expanding the holographic display to show the alien vessel's configurations. "An expansionist species we've been monitoring through long-range reconnaissance. They'd been systematically cleansing frontier regions of competing life forms for decades." "Monitoring." The secretary's voice rose. "You knew about hostile aliens and didn't inform civilian leadership." Maya turned to face the room. Operation Aegis was classified at the highest level precisely to prevent panic. The Vordax were operating in the Cygnus Arm, thousands of light-years away. We didn't anticipate they would reach the Orion Spur for another century. "So much for your intelligence assessment," the secretary muttered. "With respect, sir," Maya countered, "our preparations weren't based on when we thought they would arrive, but on ensuring we would be ready whenever they did." She gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show Earth's solar system. And beyond it, the vast network of hidden military installations stretching across dozens of star systems. "Project Nemesis," she announced. 5 decades of secret military buildup, while civilian colonization efforts focused on a handful of high-profile worlds. Military engineers were constructing automated shipyards throughout uninhabited systems. The secretary stared at the display, uncomprehending. "How many ships are we talking about?" 650,000 combat vessels, Maya stated, plus support craft and automated drone carriers. Silence filled the room. "That's impossible," Admiral Takahashi finally managed. "The resources required were diverted through thousands of classified programs, spread across a century of budgets." Maya explained. "Each generation of military leadership has contributed to the contingency plan. We've been prepared for this moment since the first radio telescopes detected artificial signals from deep space. And nobody thought to inform elected officials," the secretary demanded. "Presidents and prime ministers come and go," Maya said without apology. "Some were briefed, others weren't. What mattered was continuity of the program." The Joint Chiefs exchanged glances. They had all been aware of aspects of Project Nemesis, but even they hadn't grasped its full scope until now. "The Vordax attacked one colony," Maya continued. "They'll be scanning for our response, likely expecting a few dozen warships at most, based on what they observed at Helios Prime. They have no idea what's coming." She activated another display, showing the flagship of humanity's hidden armada. The U.S. Retribution is already en route to the Vordax home system, along with the first battle group. Admiral Chen commands the operation. "You deployed without authorization?" the secretary asked, incredulous. "Protocol Nemesis grants automatic deployment authority in response to confirmed genocide," Maya replied. "The civilian government has always had plausible deniability built into this program." The secretary sank into a chair. "So what happens now?" "Now," Maya said grimly, "we show the galaxy why humanity should never be provoked." Admiral Lillian Chen had never expected to command the largest military force in human history. As the U.S. Retribution accelerated to FTL speeds, leading the first wave of Earth's hidden armada, she studied the tactical displays showing her fleet's formation. 5,000 ships in the vanguard alone, a mere fraction of what would follow. Most were crewed by minimal personnel, their systems largely automated. Humanity had learned from its exploration of the stars. They had discovered enough dead civilizations to understand that survival in the cosmos demanded overwhelming military power, held in reserve but ready to deploy at a moment's notice. "Status report," Chen ordered as she entered the bridge. "All ships at combat readiness," Admiral, her XO, Commander Victor Ramirez, replied. "The first wave is maintaining formation. The second wave will deploy from Sol in 12 hours, and the third wave is mobilizing now. And the Vordax. Intelligence suggests they're still at Helios Prime, harvesting resources from the colony. They show no signs of anticipating our response. Chen studied the tactical projection. The Vordax had demonstrated advanced technology in their attack, but their strategy suggested overconfidence, the behavior of a species accustomed to easy victories against primitive opposition. They destroyed Helios Prime to claim its resources, Chen observed, but they also did it as a message to show us our place in their universe. They're about to receive our reply, Ramirez noted grimly. Chen nodded. Prepare the quantum communicator. I want to address all ships before we arrive. As the bridge crew worked, Chen retreated to her ready room. On her desk sat a holoframe showing Helios Prime as it had been, a thriving colony representing humanity's hopeful expansion to the stars. Now it was gone, its people reduced to ash. The Vordax had chosen to introduce themselves through violence. Now they would learn that humanity had long prepared for such a meeting, and had developed a response that would reshape galactic politics forever. Admiral, her communications officer called. Fleet-wide channel is open. Chen returned to the bridge and faced the camera. Her image would be transmitted to every ship in the Armada, from the massive carriers to the smallest automated drones. This is Admiral Chen, she began, her voice steady. Today we undertake the most solemn mission in human history. The unprovoked destruction of Helios Prime Colony represents not just an attack on human lives, but a fundamental threat to our species' existence. She paused, letting her words sink in. For generations, we have prepared for this moment, hoping it would never come, but refusing to be caught unprepared. Project Nemesis was created because our ancestors understood a simple truth. In a universe of unknown threats, only overwhelming defensive capability ensures survival. The stars streaked past the viewport as the Retribution hurtled toward Vordax space. In 12 hours, we will emerge in the Vordax home system. Our mission is not merely retribution, but strategic deterrence. We will demonstrate to the Vordax, and any witnesses, that humanity cannot be attacked without catastrophic consequences. Chen's expression hardened. The Vordax believed they were exterminating a defenseless species. They had no idea they were merely attacking an outpost of a civilization that has spent a century preparing for this very moment. Today, they learned the truth. She ended the transmission and turned to her tactical officer. Prepare all weapons systems. When we arrive, I want to hit them with everything we have. The fleet accelerated deeper into the void, carrying humanity's terrible answer to an existential threat. Behind them, hundreds of thousands more ships were being dispatched from hidden installations throughout human space, an armada built in secret over generations, about to reveal itself in a single devastating moment. The Vordax had started this war. Humanity intended to end it. The Reckoning. Supreme Overlord Krax of the Vordax Imperium lounged on his command throne, tentacles idly manipulating the nutrient sphere floating before him. The tactical display showed his fleet still in orbit around the conquered human world, processing facilities already extracting valuable minerals and biological matter. A productive cleansing, noted High Commander Vex, his carapace gleaming under the bridge lights. The bipeds offered minimal resistance. Their colony's resources will fuel our expansion for several cycles. Were there any transmissions before we neutralized their communication center? Krax inquired, multiple eye stalks focusing on his subordinate. A primitive faster-than-light communication attempt, Vex confirmed. Likely a distress call to their homeworld. Our analysts suggest their central government is at least 20 light cycles distant. Any response would take decades to organize and deploy. Krax made a dismissive gesture, his dorsal spines rippling with amusement. By which time we will have cleansed a dozen more of their settlements. The Imperium expands, as it always has. Supreme Overlord, the sensor officer interrupted, his voice pitched higher in alarm. Multiple spatial distortions detected at the system's edge. Identify, ordered Vex, moving to the main sensor array. Unknown configuration, the officer replied, emerging from faster-than-light travel. Count is impossible. Clarify, Krax demanded, rising from his throne. The sensor officer's appendages trembled. 5,000 vessels, Supreme Overlord. No, wait, sensors are continuing to register new signatures. 7,000. 10,000. The tactical display shifted to show the outer system, where space itself seemed to tear open as ship after ship appeared. A flood of vessels emerging from hyperspace in perfect formation. Impossible, Vex whispered, his biological luminescence dimming in shock. No species possesses such numbers. The communications array activated without their input, projecting the image of a human female in a dark uniform adorned with minimal insignia. "This is Admiral Lillian Chen of the United Earth Defense Force," she stated, her voice coldly precise. "You have committed genocide against the human settlement of Helios Prime. Your species has been judged and found wanting. There will be no negotiation. There will be no mercy." Krax inflated his dominance sacs, the biological equivalent of squaring his shoulders. "Human, you misunderstand galactic law. Inferior species must submit to Vordax expansion. Your colony encroached on territory marked for cleansing. You misunderstand human law," Chen replied without emotion. "Attack one of us, and you attack all of us. What follows is not merely retribution, it is extinction." The transmission cut off abruptly. "Preposterous," Krax scoffed. "The human ships appear numerous, but are clearly hastily constructed. Our technological superiority will—" "Supreme Overlord," the tactical officer interrupted, "the human vessels are deploying smaller craft, tens of thousands of them. And more ships continue to arrive. Current count exceeds 50,000 capital ships." Vex's exoskeleton paled. "Order all vessels to battle formation. Launch interceptors and prepare the main cannon." On the tactical display, the Vordax fleet, impressive by any normal standard with its 300 warships, reoriented to face the human armada. Weapon systems charged, shields strengthened, and fighter craft deployed in practiced maneuvers that had conquered 100 worlds. It wasn't nearly enough. The first wave of human vessels opened fire simultaneously, not with energy weapons or plasma torpedoes, but with kinetic projectiles accelerated to relativistic speeds. The Vordax shields, designed to disperse energy attacks, offered minimal resistance against physical objects moving at significant fractions of light speed. 30 Vordax vessels shattered in the first volley. "Impossible," Krax hissed as his flagship shuddered under a near miss. "Target their lead vessels. Deploy the Singularity warheads." The Vordax fleet's most powerful weapons, miniaturized black holes contained in gravitational fields, launched toward the human armada. 3 found their targets, collapsing human ships into twisted metal before dissipating. But where 3 human ships died, thousands more advanced. "Supreme Overlord," Vex reported, his voice tight, "we're detecting even more spatial distortions. Additional human forces are arriving." The tactical display struggled to represent the sheer number of vessels now filling the system. What had begun as thousands was now hundreds of thousands, ships of every size and configuration, from massive carriers to sleek destroyers to swarms of automated drones. "How?" Krax demanded, his composure cracking. "How could they hide such a fleet? Our intelligence indicated they possessed only defensive installations around their core worlds." On the bridge of the U.S. Retribution, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold with cold precision. The Vordax were fighting with increasing desperation as the true scale of humanity's response became apparent. "Second wave has fully deployed, Admiral," Commander Ramirez reported. "Third wave is arriving now. Total vessel count stands at 620,000, with more arriving every minute." Chen nodded. "Target their command ships. I want their leadership to witness this fully before the end." The battle, if it could be called that, was less a military engagement than an extinction event. The Vordax fleet, for all its advanced technology, simply couldn't withstand the overwhelming numbers arrayed against it. Centuries of uncontested expansion had left them unprepared for a species that had spent generations preparing for this exact scenario. "Admiral," Ramirez said quietly, "we're detecting transmissions from the Vordax homeworld. They're monitoring the battle." "Good," Chen replied. "Prepare to deploy the fourth wave directly to their home system. I want their civilian leadership to understand the consequences of their military's actions." The tactical display showed the Vordax fleet continuing to disintegrate under the relentless human assault. Individual Vordax vessels fought with incredible skill and technology, each taking multiple human ships with them, but humanity simply had more to spare. Aboard the Vordax flagship, now crippled and venting atmosphere, Supreme Overlord Krax watched his mighty armada being systematically erased. "Send the surrender signal," he ordered, his voice hollow. "Supreme Overlord, the Imperium has never," Vex began. "Send it," Krax roared, "or there will be no Imperium left by daybreak." The transmission went out on all frequencies, broadcast in both Vordax language and the human standard they had deciphered from Helios Prime's communications. Admiral Chen received the surrender offer with no visible reaction. "Admiral," Ramirez prompted, "they're requesting terms." Chen studied the tactical display, where the human armada had paused its advance, holding position around the remnants of the once proud Vordax fleet. "Open a channel," she ordered. The image of Supreme Overlord Krax appeared, his once imposing frame now hunched, several of his eye stalks damaged and leaking fluid. "Human Admiral," he began, "the Vordax Imperium acknowledges your species' superior might. We offer immediate cessation of hostilities and reparations for the regrettable incident at your colony." "Regrettable incident," Chen repeated, her voice dangerously soft. "You murdered 2 million civilians without provocation or warning. A misunderstanding of territorial boundaries," Krax insisted. "One we are prepared to compensate generously for. The Imperium controls resource-rich worlds that—" "The Vordax Imperium controls nothing now," Chen interrupted. "Your surrender is noted, but terms are not being offered. This is not a negotiation, it is notification." She leaned forward slightly. "Humanity has revealed only a fraction of its military capability today. The message we send is not just to you, but to every spacefaring civilization watching this encounter. Humanity will not be preyed upon. We have prepared for centuries to ensure our survival in a hostile universe." "What do you want?" Krax asked, his voice barely audible. "Your complete disarmament, the surrender of all military vessels and installations, the ceding of any worlds taken by force from other sentient species, and a permanent Vordax delegation on Earth to ensure compliance." Krax's remaining eye stalks blinked rapidly. "And in return, your species will be permitted to continue existing," Chen stated flatly, "though confined to your original homeworld until such time as humanity determines you can be trusted among the stars again." "That could be generations," Vex protested from off-screen. "Yes," Chen agreed. "It could." 1 year later, Admiral Chen stood before the newly formed Galactic Council on Earth, humanity's first formal diplomatic assembly with representatives from dozens of spacefaring civilizations. Many had traveled enormous distances after receiving transmissions of the Vordax confrontation. "Humanity welcomes peaceful exchange with all sentient species," Chen addressed the assembled delegates. "Our response to the Vordax was not our preferred first contact scenario." A delegate from the Centauri Accord, a coalition of species from nearby star systems, rose to speak. "Admiral Chen, while we appreciate Earth's invitation to this assembly, many of us are concerned by the scale of military force your species concealed. 650,000 warships is unprecedented in galactic history." "Actually," Chen corrected, "our full deployment in the Vordax incident reached just over 700,000 vessels. And those were simply the ships we could mobilize within the first 48 hours. A murmur ran through the chamber. Humanity has always understood a fundamental truth, Chen continued. The universe is ancient, filled with civilizations that rise and fall. Those who survive are those who prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. The Centauri delegate's translator conveyed their unease. Such military might suggest expansionist intentions. If we were expansionists, Chen countered, we would not be hosting this council. We would be conquering your worlds as the Vordax did to others. Instead, we reveal our strength openly and extend a hand in peaceful cooperation. From the observation gallery, General Maya Okafor watched the proceedings with Secretary Diaz, who had finally been fully briefed on Project Nemesis. It's working exactly as your predecessors planned, Diaz observed. Show overwhelming force once, and you might never need to use it again. Peace through strength isn't a new concept, Maya replied. But humanity applied it on a scale no one expected. The Vordax thought they were culling a vulnerable species. Instead, they awakened a sleeping giant. Below them, Chen was outlining humanity's proposal for a mutual defense pact, offering the protection of Earth's massive fleet to any civilization that agreed to basic principles of non-aggression and cooperation. Will we actually maintain all those ships? Diaz asked. The expense must be astronomical. The fleet is mostly automated, Maya explained. Minimal crews, self-sustaining resource collection. The real investment was made over the past century. Now we simply exist, a fact of galactic politics that cannot be ignored. On the council floor, representatives from a dozen worlds were already signaling their interest in Chen's proposal. The Vordax delegate, now representing a humbled and disarmed civilization, watched in silence from a seat at the back of the chamber. The Helios Prime tragedy changed everything, Maya continued quietly. Not just for humanity, but for the galaxy. No species will ever again underestimate us or consider us easy prey. And Governor Matsuo, Diaz asked, has there been any memorial? The site of Helios Prime remains under quarantine, Maya replied. But we've established a new colony nearby, New Helios. Many of the families who lost loved ones in the attack have settled there. Below, Admiral Chen was concluding her address. Let the events of the past year serve as both warning and promise, she told the assembled delegates. Humanity desires peace, commerce, and cultural exchange. We have no territorial ambitions beyond the worlds we currently inhabit. But make no mistake, we have prepared for millennia to ensure our survival. She gestured to the massive view screen behind her, which displayed Earth's solar system. And beyond it, the vast network of human colonies and military installations now visible to all. Humanity does not seek conflict, Chen finished. But neither will we ever again be caught unprepared. The choice of how we proceed from here belongs to all of us. As the council broke into discussion groups, Maya led Secretary Diaz from the observation gallery. Project Nemesis was always about more than just military readiness, she explained as they walked. It was about changing the fundamental calculus of interstellar relations. No species, no matter how advanced, can afford to make an enemy of humanity now. And if another threat emerges, something even our fleet can't handle. Maya's expression remained confident. Then we'll face it together, both as a united human civilization and with whatever allies we've made among the stars. The greatest lesson of Helios Prime wasn't about our military capacity, but about our unity of purpose. Outside the council chamber, a monument had been erected, a simple obelisk bearing the names of every human lost in the Helios Prime massacre. At its base, a quote from Governor Elisa Matsuo's final transmission was inscribed. We came to the stars in peace. We remain among them in strength. The galaxy had learned a crucial lesson. Humanity might appear peaceful, collaborative, and relatively non-militaristic, until they weren't. A species that could secretly build 700,000 warships was not to be trifled with. And somewhere out in the darkness between the stars, countless other civilizations received the transmissions from the Vordax incident, studying the footage with growing alarm and respect. Humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage, not with diplomatic overtures or cultural exchanges, but with an overwhelming display of military might that could not be ignored. The message was clear: humanity came in peace, but was prepared for war.